you want to win. You want to win in life. You want to be successful. What better way to do it than at home and build a strong team with your partner so that then your family can all win together?
Welcome to the Dad Central Show, the podcast that helps overwhelmed dads conquer stress, build confidence, and become the father their family brags about. Join Drew Solon, a leadership coach and father of 5, and Ed Gow Jr., a fatherhood advocate and contributor to the Good Men Project, as we guide you through the journey of fatherhood. We'll show you how to connect deeply with your family, manage your time and energy better, and master tools to become the dad you want to be. Let's get started. On today's episode of Dad Central, we're going to be talking about supporting your partner, teamwork in parenting. And what we're going to cover today are why teamwork matters in parenting, what support really looks like, overcoming common roadblocks, and practical strategies you can start today. So here's a question I have, or a little statement we have to open it up. Parenting is one of the most rewarding jobs you'll ever have. But let's be honest, it can be also testing your strong relationships. So the truth is, no dad can or should do it alone. So in today's episode, we're talking about how to show up as a supportive partner and build a real sense of teamwork in parenting. So theme for today, helping dads understand how to support their partners, strengthen teamwork, and reduce conflict so parenting feels like a united effort. So my bearded friend, well, he's getting back to beard. You notice how he flips back and forth? So it seems like it's going out again. What's up, Drew?
Wow. Okay. If this is what you call a beard, then
Well, no,
the guy's
okay. Correction. It looks like one's coming back out again. Let's put it
5
that way.
o'clock shadow.
Wow, you got good, strong hair growth. All right, go ahead.
That's about it. Sorry, we're talking about teamwork and parenting. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that what
we're talking about supporting your partner, teamwork and parenting.
Teamwork and parenting, yeah. You know, this is so crucial, but it's also, I think, very hard. I mean, I think some dads and their partners are probably fantastic, would be great examples, could probably share a ton of wisdom. But at least from my experience, it's an ongoing area to work at. And I think, we all grow and change over time. Our children grow and change over time. Life changes. There's a lot coming at you as parents. So it's like, but I think my point is that when you work together as a team, it becomes like a safe haven and a shelter from the storms of life. And when you work well as a team, you provide that same safety and security for your children, as well as a strong foundation upon which you can sort of do life and work through life with your family, as opposed to creating stress and tension and unhealthiness. I'd say that, can rip at the fabric of your family and the relationship. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I've experienced that with family breakdown, and also being divorced, being repartnered now, and having a blended family, which adds layers of complication. So, I mean, I can certainly speak to some of these things from attempts to work and build a strong parenting team. I think successes at building a strong parenting team. And some of maybe the pitfalls to watch out for. So my lived experience, plus obviously some of the content we're sharing. Hopefully it offers value for any dad or parent who's listening and wants to build a strong, united parenting team.
Excellent. Just want to remind everyone, you're watching and listening to Dad Central, the parenting podcast to reduce stress and build confidence in fatherhood. We're sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes that care is the best of a man, because when men care for themselves and others, there's a positive impact. So if we start doing our journey on today's episode, why does teamwork matter in parenting?
I mean, my perspective is that when you're working together as a team, first and foremost, it really supports a healthy relationship dynamic for you and your partner, as well as it shows your children that there's safety and security in the home, and there's also consistency in what they can expect from your parents. So, I think Why it matters is because children need that sense of security, safety, as well as guidance and direction, love, comfort, nurturing from both. The research shows us that both moms and dads have unique and valuable relationships for their children, but one can't do both. And so, by very nature of the that research, your mom provides a certain importance in your life, and your dad provides a certain importance in your life, and they can't actually do each other's jobs. And so there needs to be a clear boundaries, there needs to be respect, there needs to be honor, there needs to be communication, there needs to be a lot of really important elements so that your children, because this old adage, children learn what they live. The more that we have healthy relationships and strong teamwork, the more we model and demonstrate to our children how to grow and be healthy in relationship and to work well with others because of what they've experienced in the home. So, that for me is the most important aspect of it. And honestly, to be honest, like, if you've been on a winning team, it feels pretty damn good. And so you want to win. You want to win in life. You want to be successful. You want to experience the celebration, the highs, the victories. What better way to do it than at home and build a strong team with your partner so that then your family can all win together? And winning is fun.
Absolutely. I'll just add on what Drew's saying and won't add on much. It's just that it's a good foundation for the family, not only the family for today, but for your kids going from the future. So teamwork in the home, I believe, will provide resilience when for teamwork outside the home. And you're teaching, yeah, you're showing your kids the value of working together, winning together, and celebrating those wins. Because I'm a believer that what the kids learn when they're young is what they'll model a lot of times when they get older. So if they see that and the home front, it can enhance what they're looking for outside or as they grow older. Anything you want to add to that?
No, all said.
Excellent. All right, let's look next. What does support really look like when we're talking about teamwork? What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's a lot that maybe could be said, but let's just focus on the importance of things like emotional support. The ability to listen to each other, to empathize and understand with each other, to encourage and be there for one another. You notice I didn't say always agree, because the reality is we're not always going to agree. But as long as we respect and honor each other in the process, then we are still moving forward together. So to me, part of that is, healthy boundaries, but sort of respect. That listening piece is crucial. So I think those are important. That's what actually support looks like. So, do when my partner says something, do I actually listen to her, receive her perspective, and understand even some of the feelings behind it, and just accept and acknowledge that? Do I do that well? Do I do it consistently? When she's having a hard time, am I able to meet her where she is, empathize, but also be able to provide some reassurance and encouragement? Or can I proactively recognize and provide some affirmation or some, just some, compliments or recognition? Hey, look at what you're doing so well, to continue to build her up. Just those are the types of things around, I think, that emotional and that deep, real connection are important. Yeah, why don't you, Ed, hop in with more some of the other things, like sort of
Yeah, I
practical stuff?
want to just add on to what you're saying, especially in the rare area of encouragement. I think it is so key providing actions, moments, and words of encouragement to the family is so, so critical because life has its ups and downs. And not only good to be encouraging when things go right, but when things aren't going right, to be there and encouraging, saying, hey, you can get that done. And like simple things like sharing household tasks together, those things, your kids are watching you. Even when you don't think they're watching you, they are watching you. And if they see you in a household where the partners are sharing tasks together, it provides an environment of calm, environment of stability, that, they don't feel that there's two different worlds going on out there. They're working together. And again, a great model for as they're growing up, getting into the world. And also simple check-ins. I'm assisting a father right now, and we've got to the point now where he does at least a 10-minute check-in with his partner every day. They've agreed at a certain part of the day, they're just going to put everything aside and do a 10-minute check-in to see how things are going. Actually, I gave him a book, and in this book, it has emotional faces. So I said, maybe you and your partner can agree, saying when you're doing your check-in, what face shows your emotion today? And it's working really well. So just that, it does not be a huge amount of time, but a consistent amount of time, not only with your partner, but also with your kids. So that's what I have to add for that. Drew, anything else before we move forward?
Yeah, there were some thoughts I had, but they're escaping me now. So, well, let's move on.
Back to them if they pick up, no problem. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, these are things," but they're gonna be roadblocks. So what are some of the common roadblocks that come up when we're trying to work together with our partner?
Yeah, so things, the different parenting styles. And a lot of that comes from maybe our family of origin, how we were raised or how we were brought up. Things like, how do you discipline? What's your approach for discipline? Some people are more structured like me and really like routine. Some people don't really have much structure and they kind of like free flow. So those are differences. Sometimes different value systems, which is again maybe related to family upbringing, but value systems, right? Some people may really value financial gain and monetary and the security that comes with that. Others might be more focused on it's more about the relationship. It's more about the atmosphere. It's more about kind of those are the things. And yes, obviously money is important, but I don't want to focus on, money at all costs. So those are where I think, the biggest challenges to parenting teamwork come in is just where you and your partner come from different worlds, different backgrounds, different experiences, and different thought processes on how you do that. And how do you work through those differences? And so for me, the way you overcome that is one of the things I learned from John Maxwell, which is the 101% principle. And it's find the 1% that you do agree on and give it 100% of your effort. So if you're able to do that, you may not 99% you can say, but that doesn't align. But what's the 1% that you both can sort of find? And you both need to come to the table and say, I'm going to set aside the 99 that's really almost viscerally pulling at me. I'm going to focus on this 1%. And we're going to work on that and build from there because we both see it the same way on this little sliver. So let's do that there. To me, that's really crucial, that and always remembering that you are in this together. John Maxwell, in one of his books, the 17 irrefutable laws of teamwork or indispensable laws of teamwork, he has the law of Mount Everest, which says the goal is more important than the role. And remember, what is your long-term goal? What is your vision that you're working towards as a family? And this to me is really what always needs to come back to in these areas of disagreement or different values or different backgrounds. If you have come together, and if you haven't done this, I really recommend you do it. You need to come together and need to come up with what is our North Star? What is the goal that we're working towards for our family and for our children? An example from Andy and Sandra Stanley was their goal was that basically we want our kids to like each other and be willing to spend time with us and each other, even when they don't have to. And so that was what they're working towards. No matter what happens, our goal is that will they learn to honor, respect, like each other, and want to spend time with each other, even when we don't require them to. And so that was, hey, when our kids are 25, that's what we want to see. So they always kept that long-term vision in mind in the midst of going through these sort of day-to-day, sometime minutiae in terms of, is it moving us closer to that long-term goal? So to me, yes, this is a common roadblock, but there are definitely ways through it. 101% principle, have a clear vision and a goal for your family, and then keep that in mind as you go through these day-to-day sort of challenges. That's my piece for this real roadblock of different parenting styles and backgrounds. But I know we got a bit more. So Ed, what do you want to hop in here with?
The only thing I want to add on to that is the key of having a reset when things are out of sync. I think it's so key that, yeah, things are going to go out of sync. That's reality. How do we approach? Do we have a go-to when things aren't out of sync? Is it address it then? Who speaks first? Do we need to take some time? Having that plan, because you either plan to succeed or you plan to fail.
Hmm.
So when those things gonna go right, what is our go-to? When do we talk about it? Do we talk about it right then and there? How do we resolve it? Because I think having something in place is so, so, so critical. And a lot of times working with fathers, they don't have a thing in place, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And that's when they say that's a moment of jambalaya, so to speak, when that stuff
yeah,
goes down. So that's the only thing I want to add on to that piece, but just have something in place. And if you don't, I would encourage you, based on our conversation today, reach out to your partner and say, hey, you know what? What's our best approach when things aren't going right? And it could be very in different events in different areas, but even having something there that you can build on is my suggestion.
yeah. I think that's a crucial point. And building it's intentionality in your relationship, right? So, what is going to help you and your partner reconnect when everything in the world, including sometimes it feels like inside your house, is threatening to pull you apart? So, finding intentional ways to build that connection is so important.
Yeah, well, let's end it up with people want to say, what are some practical teamwork strategies that they can start today? What are some suggestions, Drew?
Well, your 10-minute connection daily is, I think, like a bare minimum. I think that's valuable. I remember reading an article written by Tony Dungy. He would share about him and his wife, and they would spend 30 minutes a day together, walking, reflecting, exploring what's going on, praying, whatever it was that they needed together. They committed to every single day, and that was a non-negotiable. And so I think that is, to me, one of the most valuable and important and intentional things you can do is to set aside time for each other, to hear and know and understand each other, and to try and do your best to get on the same page. But setting that aside, I think, is really important. And I go back to this: the goal is more important than the role. The goal is that you're working together and you're not keeping score, or you're not competing with one another, or you're not sort of keeping track. Well, you did this and this, and so or I've done this and this, so therefore you need to do this and this, right? So trying to remove a lot of that bitterness, scorekeeping, competition mentality outside of the relationship, because those are really, I would say, toxic and damaging. And so that, to me, are really important elements that I would just mention briefly. But Ed, you can hop in here, and you've got a lot of wisdom and insight to share.
Yeah, I love what you're sharing there. Two little quick things that say small, consistent actions. Small and consistent actions really make a difference. And I'll give a story. And I've shared this before. There's a dad around the corner, and like during the pandemic, he really enjoyed being at home teaching his daughter to ride a motorbike. Well, one of the small, consistent actions they've been doing, him and his partner, and well, their daughter's grown up now, but they, as a couple, every evening when he comes home from his HVAC work, they go for a walk with their dog every evening. And the daughter's a little bit older now, but when the daughter was younger, it would be all three of them together. Consistent action. Always like, yeah, HVAC can be real hard, but I will tell you, 4 out of every 5 weekdays, him and his partner are out walking the dog after a day of work. Now, what is that? Not only when their daughter was growing up, what does that tell the daughter about fatherhood? And also, and she's growing up now, so she's probably saying, yeah, I don't need to go, but the father is still doing it with the partner, right? Even though she's probably, oh, I don't do that anymore, but the father is still doing that. Consistent. It's a small thing. Probably go about for half an hour, but it's a consistent thing. Great example. Great example. Drew, before we wrap up, what I'm going to do is just highlight what we shared about today. So, first things first, we talked about why teamwork in parenting. We also talked about what support really looks like, overcoming common roadblocks, and then practical teamwork strategies that you can start today. So, takeaways: parenting works best when it's a partnership, not a solo mission. And then support comes in both emotional and practical forms, and both matter equally. And then finally, clear communication, shared responsibility, and small daily actions build stronger teamwork. Drew, do we have a resource today?
Well, before we do the resource, there's something that's come to me that I didn't share that I feel it's really important to. So I want to talk briefly about this, and as I'll try and share an example first, and then I'll talk about the principle. So let's say my wife doesn't support a particular type of food that, let's say it's a real junk food. And, I, on the other hand, don't feel so significant about that junk food. But, some of the things that I think happens in relationships is, well, dad will be like, hey, it's okay. Come with me. And you take the kid out and you take him to the junk food place. You don't tell mom. And then you say, hey, don't tell mom. It'll just be our little secret. And while sometimes that can be harmless, I think what the reality is that actually undermines your partner and undermines the integrity of the teamwork and the united front that children really need to see. And so, I can honestly say that sometimes that's been my situation where I haven't honored and respected my partner's wishes when it comes to, let's say, a particular dietary limitation or expectation around good quality. And obviously, I'm all about healthy food, all the other things, but to me, that happens in multiple different areas within raising kids. And that principle to me in that story is, when we have dads who are like, hey, it's okay, we'll take care of it, we don't tell mom, you are doing, I'd say, harm and damage, and you're not honoring your partner. And so the better approach would be to go and talk to your partner and say, look, I want to take the kids out for a treat. I know you don't fully support this right now, but here's when I want to go do it. And I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page. And I've shared with you that this is what's happening. So, how do you feel about that? And have the conversation up front and make sure that when the kids, you take them out and you're like, yeah, mom and I talked about it. Guess what? Mom's okay with it today. So we're going to go do this. We're going to have fun. And they're like, oh my God. And then they might. So what you do is you create the fact that you and mom are together on the same page, even when they know that mom isn't necessarily on board and supportive of some of the choices you make, or vice versa, right? And you as a dad, if you feel really strong about something and mom doesn't, and you need to also be willing, as long as they approach you and say, let's have this conversation, let's talk through it, to be like, you know what, okay, in this instance you feel really strong about, okay, I fully support that and I'm on board. But this undercutting, working behind the back, not being open up front and putting that stuff out there to each other is it's kind of like it's a slippery slope. It's like that little white lie that you're like, oh well, no one's going to know. you know it's kind of like the gateway drug. It leads to more and more and more, and ultimately erodes the integrity of the teamwork and the relationship there. So didn't get a chance to share that. I felt like it's important. I want to put it out there now.
No problem. Absolutely fantastic. Just add to that, it's the little things that spoil the vine, not the big things. It's the little things. And on that note, did you give us a resource? You still got to give us a call to action, a resource.
To me, the resource is back to our resource, would be our dad mentor community, with our dad's roadmap, which is foundational. Stage 4 of that is the collaborate, and that's how to build a strong parenting team. It also builds in coaching skills. How do you ask questions, and how do you coach and connect with, actually, stage 3 is connect. Stage 4 is collaborate. And we're getting ground foundational elements to build a strong relationship and then be able to work well together as a team. So that to me is the best resource we have. So when Dad Mentor reopens, if it's not open when you're listening to this podcast, I would encourage you to go there.
Excellent. So, as we always say, want to thank you for taking the most important thing, your time, to either listen or watch, to Dad Central. And as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace, and we'll chat with you soon. Be well.